It's Wednesday, January 27th, and it's time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Government will embark on a house-to-house health check initiative in a bid to get a handle on the spike in COVID-19 cases in the country. The move is among a slew of measures announced by Prime Minister Mia Mottley in an address to the nation last night, which will take place during a lockdown period from February 3rd to 17th. To date, Barbados has recorded 1,427 cases of the virus and 10 deaths. The Prime Minister also announced that the new variant of the virus is present in the country. The health check will see public health officials moving across the island assessing persons.
This lockdown that we are calling, this pause, this national reset, is going to be necessary in order for us to give ourselves also a chance to go into the communities house by house and to do systematic household testing. And why? The doctors have represented to us that the earlier you plan, the earlier you can find persons in households who are symptomatic, the better their chance of recovery. One of the difficulties with the 3 persons who regrettably passed is that they came too late. And if we can go from house to house, determining who has symptoms, we're not going to test every single person in the house. But after you're asked questions, once you are displaying some form of symptoms, then they will use the rapid antigen tests. We have asked the University of the West Indies to work with us, along with the Ministry of Health, in order to have this done effectively. And I've asked the chairman of the Cabinet Subcommittee, Minister Walcott, to be in charge of this process.
Prime Minister Mottley disclosed that the country's 300 polling districts will be used to ensure that as many people as possible are examined.
We need at least 300 persons going into the community on a parallel track so that over the course of 10, 12 days, we are able to get into as many houses as possible, ask persons through a questionnaire that is already being used by the Queen Elizabeth Hospital with respect to symptoms, to get a sense of those who have symptoms, and then to use the rapid antigen tests to ensure that we can pick out of the community and take for treatment immediately all persons who are positive. When I say we are going to wage war on COVID, I mean it. And we need your assistance. And that's one of the reasons why we don't want a lot of people on the road moving about, because we want to be able to find people in their communities. And if it is that they have a sore throat or they have no taste in their mouth or all of the other symptoms that the PSAs will come and show you, then you need to tell us and let us rule out other things. Let us rule out COVID through the rapid antigen test, which is 98%, 99% accurate for persons who are symptomatic.
Meanwhile, as of next Wednesday, a 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew will be in place. The wearing of masks in public spaces will also become mandatory.
I'm asking us, if we are walking on the streets and other people are in close proximity, wear your mask. If you are out in a public place, liming, and I'd hope that you're not doing much of that from next Wednesday when we talk, wear your mask. We accept that if you're exercising, or if you are literally in the midst of speaking, or if you have a medical reason and a letter from your medical practitioner, then that is a sufficient excuse that meets the directives that we have. But my friends, effective February 3rd, it shall be an offense not to wear a mask in public spaces as well. If you cannot wear the mask or the face covering by reason of medical, physical, or mental illness or disability, we will understand that. If you're eating or drinking or taking the medication or speaking, as I said, we will understand that. But let us try to do the right thing. And let us do it because, one, you are protecting first and foremost yourself. Secondly, the ones that you love. Thirdly, the ones that you work with. And fourthly, all other Bajans that you're interacting with.
Prime Minister Mottley also told the nation that Barbados continues to hold talks with several countries in a bid to secure COVID-19 vaccines. She said not only has she been in talks with the Indian government, but with many others as well.
You have heard that I have been in deep conversation. You've heard about the letter that I've written to Prime Minister Modi from India. But I've also been in deep conversations with many others. Out there, truly, has been like the wild, wild west. But the conversations with the Indian government are promising. I say no more at this stage, but have every assurance that we will come back to you with details as soon as we're in a position to give full and greater details on that and other sources from which we are seeking to procure it. We are confident that we will get it. We are confident that we will be able to get as many available for Barbadians as possible. And let us be real, a vaccine will not stop you necessarily from getting it. A vaccine, however, will stop you hopefully from dying or from going into ICU and making it perhaps a little more acceptable. It's like a common cold that all of us have become accustomed to dealing with throughout our lives.
In other news, residents of Boscobel St. Peter are appealing to officials at the Barbados Water Authority to rectify poor water services in their community. They say the situation is making it difficult for them to thoroughly sanitize themselves and their homes in the current COVID-19 environment. Residents tell Barbados Today there is a community tank available, but when it is empty, they have to wait at times for long periods for it to be refilled, and they are fed up and tired of complaining about the ongoing situation.
The water issues we had down in Boscobel was 5 years ago, which you all came to us before about the issue, came back for 2 years, and now it's been last year, the 2020 March, when COVID came in, this problem came back and turned off the water in March. Till now, it almost March again. We've been getting water in December, the last 2 weeks in December, for them, like it will go off for the night and come back for the morning. Sometimes it will go off for a couple of days, like 4 days and stuff in December, and we be barely getting their water, but you can't drink it and you can't use it. You can use it to clean and stuff, but you can't drink it. So it still ain't making sense to be getting our water.
This thing is going on for time to work and I don't work now. They said to me, I go work left here from the morning to get work at 7, come back home, but after 6. And when I get home, they put in no water, come back home, put still ain't got no water. One day I come back home for work, I saw the settling across, the one to tell the man will come back, he give me a bucket of water. He told me he was out here the whole day, I tell you, at work. And they had to tell you, come and give me a bucket of water, I beg. But in the work now, you ain't getting no water. And I had to tell the doctor my hand, I can't get my hand, bring the water and things affect me because you got to wash, you got to bathe, you got to cook, you got the COVID from you. I don't know what to say. It's a bearable. I'm more worried about the COVID. Because you got to wash, you can't come up and clean your yard and do things as you like. Because when you go, you got no water to wash your hand.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from our regional neighbors, Grenada extends its COVID-19 curfew by another 2 weeks as it awaits results from the Caribbean Public Health Agency on whether the new variant is present in the country. More from GBN News.
The Ministry of Health on Tuesday said they are awaiting results of samples sent to CARFO for testing for the COVID-19 variant. To date, there are no signs of the new variant of COVID in Grenada, unlike other Caribbean islands where it has surfaced in the past weeks. According to Assistant to the Chief Medical Officer, Mayana Charles, results should be available in 2 weeks. It was also announced by Minister Nicholas Steele during Tuesday's press brief that curfew has been extended for another 2 weeks.
So this is why you will find for this week, or at least for the next 2 weeks, the curfew from 10 p.m. will remain between 10 and 5 a.m. And I do understand and hear the calls from individuals who are saying as Dr. Charles has said, that there are no active community cases, cluster cases in Grenada, that all of the cases that we have picked up are travel-related and in quarantine.
According to him, there was no positive cases of the virus detected during the last 24 hours.
And finally, in the United States, the Biden administration has announced plans of securing an additional 200 million doses of 2 COVID-19 vaccines authorized for emergency use in the country. More in this Reuters TV report.
I can announce that we will increase overall weekly vaccination distributions to states, tribes, and territories from 8.6 million doses to a minimum of 10 million doses.
In a bid to deliver on his promise of vaccinating 100 million Americans in his first 100 days in office, President Joe Biden on Tuesday announced his administration will funnel more coronavirus vaccines to states starting next week.
That's an increase of 1.4 million doses per week.
And plans to purchase 100 million more COVID vaccines from Moderna and Pfizer for a total of 200 million.
We expect these additional 200 million doses to be delivered this summer, and that increases the total vaccine order in the United States by 50%, from 400 million order to 600 million.
Biden suggested the new purchases would be enough to inoculate 300 million Americans in what he's called a wartime effort. The president also promised to provide notice to states 3 weeks in advance of how much vaccine they would be getting in the future so they could plan accordingly.
But until now, we've had to guess how much vaccine to expect for the next week, and that's what the governors had to do. How much am I getting next week? This is unacceptable.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.